Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Arts, Culture, and Things in Between. I'm your host, Rose October, and I thank you for joining me. And for those of you who repeatedly come by, you know the drill. I have to talk a little bit about what the program is about. And for those of you who are joining for the first time, you will hear what the drill is like. I usually talk a little bit about what the program really is before I delve into who the guest is and then we start a discussion. So I'll do just that today. I hope your Sunday is off to a start as you had planned it. And I'm glad that you're here with us. So about arts, culture, and things in between. This is a program that features individuals who are gatekeepers of our arts and culture. They're not only performing artists, but also teachers, advocates, and scholars who focus on the preservation of the arts and culture. When arts is mentioned, it is being referred to as different art forms, such as visual, applied, or performing arts. Examples of visual arts would be painting, sculpting, photography, film. Examples of applied arts would be like architecture, designing and or building a project. Fashion designing would be considered applied arts, the way that the fashion designer works with the different types of patterns and fabrics. Jewelry designing would be considered applied arts, the way that the jewelry designer works with the different types of materials such as wood, plastic, metal, silver, gold, and various types of stones. Furniture designing is also applied arts. And this entails working with different types of woods, the ways that the woods are laid, they're cut and designed. Performing arts is another aspect of the arts that I discuss on this program. And examples of the performing arts would be like music, theater, opera, drama, singing, stand-up comedy, and the one that gives me pause, dance. When culture is mentioned, culture is the second part of the name, arts, culture. When culture is mentioned, it generally means the ways of life for a particular group of people. So for this program, it is inclusive to mean the various groups of individuals that embrace ways of life. In other words, looking at attitudes and behaviors of us. But what is important to note is that as culture is mentioned, I'm really looking at how practices are passed from one generation to another. Things in between, the last part of the name of the program, has to do with life's issues that affect the execution of the arts and cultural practices. This involves both positive and negative experiences that become part of the creative process. So I'm happy to tell you that today's program will feature heavy on things in between. It will focus on the things in between in a way that will give me an opportunity to wear my social worker's hat and discuss life's issues. As we know, October is known as the month of breast cancer awareness. And today's guest is someone who will not only discuss how her creativity is therapeutically used, but also educate us about breast cancer as she openly discusses this illness. But let me read a little about this huge person by sharing her bio with you. Marcia Priyadarshini Gordon is a Guyanese. She's a young creative and a thriver. She received her primary education at Sacred Heart Primary School, then high school education at the Bishops High School and Queens College, respectively, all in Guyana. She later attended the University of Guyana, where she attained a Bachelor of Science in Biology. She has impacted several areas of society with her simplicity, positive energy, and helpfulness. So from her childhood years, Marcia has been involved in many activities. She's hosted weekly children's television programs as part of the United Nations International Children's Education Fund, UNICEF, where she served as an advocate for her primary school in promoting the theme, respect. She led the charge for her peers who followed in the path and promoted the respect revolution. She has volunteered in assisting children to read at the Guyana's National Library. In 2005, Marcia graduated from the Bishops High School, and then in 2007 from Queens College in Guyana. She was a leader of several groups. While at the Bishops High School, she was the president of the Interact Club, which is a subdivision of the Rotary Club of Georgetown Central, and the treasurer for the InterVarsity Christian Fellowship. She continued her involvement in these groups when she attended Queens College. Now, at the University of Guyana, she was one of the core leaders of Campus Crusade for Christ, where she was part of the delegation that represented Guyana in Trinidad. Within her final years at the University of Guyana, she not only volunteered for the Center for the Study of Biological Diversity, but was also a laboratory lecturer assistant. Marcia's employment spanned working with the Bureau of Statistics, Guyana Elections Commission, and the Guyana Forestry Commission. Her position as a project officer at the Guyana Forestry Commission provided her the opportunity to be a part of Guyana delegation to China that received training in agroforestry. As already noted, Marcia is not a stranger to community service. She was a member of St. Andrew's Kirk Church, where she was a Sunday school teacher involved in the coordination of classes for dance, steel pan, and the church's annual vacation, Bible, and Christmas presentations. She's also been a lay preacher for the Presbyterian Church of Guyana. Marcia has been recognized for her community service. In 2007, while in Guyana, she received the President's Youth Award, Republic of Guyana, where she was a recipient of the Bronze Level Award. In 2018, in the United States, she was the recipient of the Golden Arrowhead Award of Achievement and Distinction by the Guyana Tri-State Alliance, Inc. This was to honor her service and dedication to the community. She's also received several recognitions by the Health and Education Relief Organization for Cancer, Inc., HEROC, for her optimism, courage, and determination in the fight against breast cancer. Marcia looks at life as a jigsaw puzzle, which is one of her hobbies. These puzzles serve as a great source of her therapy. She believes that eventually all pieces of life will fall into place. And as such, she takes the time to laugh at the confusion, learn to dance in the rain, live for the moment, and know that everything happens for a reason. Marcia continues to be an inspiration to many amidst her present adversity by living the concept of mindfulness and holding onto her belief in God. She's a cancer thriver. In 2016, she was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer and has since been thriving. She is an advocate for breast cancer awareness and a voice that encourages young women to be cognizant of their health and wellness. ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I have the distinct pleasure of sitting today and chatting with the lovely Marcia Priyadarshini Gordon, and I will be calling her Marcia Marcy throughout this discussion today. Marcy, welcome. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
You are.
So, love to be part of this program and chatting with you.
Yeah, I am happy that you're here. I'm happy that you're here. I want to bring a bigger smile to your face, and I want to look at a little collage that was put together. So let's look at that and then we'll smile wider after we watch it. Well, Marcia, I'm glad that I put up my dancing shoes. I'm glad that I put
Those were some lovely memories.
yeah. I like the very first picture.
That was when I was one.
1 year old.
It was my first birthday.
Wow, wow. But it's so good that you have pictures that you can look at and reminisce, because one of the things that I've been finding out with this program, based on the guest's age, right, is that I would hear something like, back then we never used to take out pictures like that. You had to get dressed and go to the studio, right? Now, child has a phone, or they can operate their parents' phone and they know how to click, and everybody's just crazy with the phones, making videos and taking photographs. So we know that from here onward, people will not be having that problem of not being able to find childhood pictures. But some of,
Indeed, indeed.
I did say some of us, you know, you know.
I always love taking photos of persons.
Mhm.
But back then, in my childhood years, I heard that I was always scared of the camera.
Ah,
So to get a photo of me was a very difficult time,
wow.
a different period for my mom, especially when she was trying to get me to pose with the umbrella or something. But yeah, but now it's different times. I get to be the one behind the camera.
Well, hey, different time too, different time. So, you know it. I admire you. I admire you for so many different reasons. And the word eclectic comes to mind because there's so many dimensions to you, Marcia. And as I was preparing for our talk today, I thought that you are an educational institution on your own, you know? And I say that because there's so much to learn from you. And I know that today you are going to allow yourself to be vulnerable. You've given yourself permission to be vulnerable in sharing your life, your story, which we will discuss later. And I truly, totally applaud you for this. But what did you want to become after we've looked at those pictures of you going through your developmental stages in life? What did you want to become when you grew up? Do you remember?
Oh, well, I had a list of three things. It was to be a pediatrician, a teacher, and a parent. Those were my three things, my three standard things that I wanted to do.
Pediatrician,
A teacher, and a parent.
and a parent,
Yes,
and a parent.
yes. That
So
during my childhood days, those were the three, my constant three.
did they change along the way?
Well, the only thing that changed was being a pediatrician,
Uh-huh.
because I did not venture into medicine.
Uh-huh.
But I looked at it as being a teacher. I became a Sunday school teacher for children.
Right.
And then I'm now a godparent for 4.
Uh-huh.
So despite I'm not a biological parent, I still parent 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls.
Okay. And let's not forget all of those children in the Sunday school. I'm sorry, in so many ways, being a teacher in any role, you at times replace that parent and become the parental figure because those children are entrusted in your care. So you've been a parent more than 4 times over. At least from my assessment, I would say that. What is your most memorable of your experience growing up?
The most memorable. It can be described as terrifying, but a blessing. I can remember growing up, my dad and we loved looking at cricket together, and we would back opposing teams. So during one of the advertisements, I decided to go check on my mom, who was hanging out clothes. In Guyana, you have a pulley attached to the banister of your veranda and to probably a coconut tree at the backyard.
Yeah.
And she was hanging out these clothes. And I don't know what, it was only about 2 seconds, 5 seconds, the most, that the banister broke. And she was almost going head over heels, and she was by her waist. And I don't know, me at probably 12, 13, getting the strength to pull her back from falling head over heels. And I wasn't there. I wasn't meant to be there. I was just checking in on her to see, how she's coming with the washing and hanging out clothes. And I'm so grateful that I was guided to just get up and check on her. And that was, as I said, it was a terrifying encounter that I had to see, and then it was a blessing that I was there just in time. So that has been something that is in my memory, and I think for life.
Oh my goodness. Hi. There, divine intervention, being an angel, whatever you call it, right place, right time. Is there an experience in Guyana that you don't want to remember? A childhood experience, really. That's what I'm referring to.
A childhood experience. No, I think remembering every moment that I've experienced in life has taught me a lesson, or has contributed to molding me into becoming stronger in faith, stronger in wisdom, and being able to help others along that process. So I can't really think of anything that I would say, I wouldn't want to remember.
I like your explanation there, because one of the things that I've grown to learn about you is that you remain prayerful. You remain obedient to God, and it's such an admirable quality for a young woman to emulate and to be a role model for other young ones. And it's so uplifting to hear you describe, that you took everything with grace, and it's just admirable. It is just admirable, and I want to commend you for that. This program today, we will delve into a lot about how your faith has kept you lifted, have kept so many lifted. And what you just said really lays the foundation for us to understand who Marcia is and how she is making a difference in our lives, period, including all of you joining us today. Let's take another sneak peek at who Marcia is, and then I'll come back and we'll talk with Marcia some more. How about that, Marcia?
Sure.
Okay. So, Marcia, one of those pictures there, you were actually wearing a hard hat.
Yes, it's part of the safety measures when you're in the forest.
All right. I just wanted to make sure that I was seeing.
Yes.
You've attended the University of Guyana and you have a bachelor degree in biology.
Yeah.
And you worked at the Guyana Forestry Commission, visited China as part of the Guyanese delegation for training in agroforestry. So I'm going to ask you the $1,000,000 question. What propelled you to go for a degree in biology? Okay, yes, you wanted to become a pediatrician, but you went for biology, and then what?
Well, with biology, that sort of puts you in a pre-med position. So if you want to pursue medicine, you can go over to medicine after your first year of biology. And of course, that's where you're kind of in between. You're not too sure or what side you want to go on, medicine or biology. So I had the perfect opportunity to pursue medicine. But I thought to myself, there's so many things I can do with biology. If I really do not like the field after my degree, I can pursue medicine. But then whilst going through the courses and the semesters, I realized, there's so many aspects of biology that we do not know about. You can be an animal physiologist. You can become an entomologist dealing with insects. You can look at marine biology. You can look at natural resources and the environment. Or you can even be a nutritionist, looking at what we eat and how it pertains to our body. So I could have gone anyway at the end of that degree in biology. So I decided to go for it, and I was happy I did, because during my years at the university, my dad transitioned. So I'm happy I did not go along that route, because I needed to find a job. I needed to finish my degree and provide for my mom and myself. And so I was able to, even before graduating, secure a job at the Ghana Forestry Commission, which was extremely huge blessing for us.
It was what?
So it was a extremely a great blessing for us.
Okay.
So going into biology, you can go in so many areas.
Okay.
It's not only for medicine.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't only set a stone for medicine, a stepping stone for medicine.
No, what did some of the courses do for you when you worked with the Forestry Commission?
Well, we dealt with, I was placed in the natural resources environment, division rather. And we're able to deal with conservation, ways of conserving, sustainable use of the forest so that it not only caters for the needs of this generation, but for generations to come. And then also we dealt with the flora and fauna. Ghana is so rich in flora and fauna, some discovered, some undiscovered. And it was such a blessing, such an amazing knowledge to use the knowledge that I learned whilst pursuing that degree in biology to venturing out into the forest, experiencing the butterflies, the eagles, I do not like snakes, but then to see the snake right before me in the forest, that was some of the amazing things. Just being part of nature. Because I spent actually 1 month in the forest, in which we rarely had signal. So communication to Georgetown was a bit challenging, but it was so refreshing just to go into the natural part of Guyana. No noise pollution, the pollution is so low in those areas, and the peace of the night on the starlit sky, it is amazing.
You sound like a romantic, the starlit sky and the peace of the environment. But let me ask you, were you guys pitching a tent when you were out there?
For some parts, yes. During the years at university, we had our tents, and that was very, very within the forested areas. Of course, you kind of, as I said, I'm scared of snakes, so that was my major concern. But other than that, whilst during my time at the Ghana Forestry Commission, we stayed in cabins.
Okay.
So that was, a bit more safer.
Let me ask you, you went to China and you
Yes.
did training in agroforestry. Talk to us about what is agroforestry.
Well, agroforestry is about replanting, based on China. It's replanting of the trees that have been either destroyed or actually what they do in China, they physically plant the trees. In Guyana, comparing Guyana, the trees and the forest naturally regenerate. So, you have seedlings coming up naturally, but in China they physically plant each tree, and they do use more of the fir, the fir trees, and their forest is very clean. They have a clean forest floor. So the experience in China was, of course, their temperature. Our zoning is not the same, so our temperatures are different. But it was an interesting experience to see the differences in forests and how they manage the forest.
Now, how much of what you learned you were able to implement in Guyana? If
Um, it was more of, for example, we would be able to implement it in the mangrove area set of 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 the forest of the natural environment rather, because with mangroves, because of the erosion of the, remember they're planted right by the sea as a sea defense, so you constantly have erosion taking place. So persons have to physically go and plant each mangrove seedling. And so that would help in terms of patterning China.
okay.
So
No, I don't know,
in Guyana.
Marcia, but a few years ago, gosh, I want to say 8 years ago, there was this big movement in Guyana about saving mangroves. I don't know if you heard of it or remember it. And I
Yeah.
remember especially along Flasinjan Road, there was some kind of movement there. And then I think on the East Coast in, I don't know if it's Buxton.
Bell,
Pleasant.
Belfield to Golden Grove.
There you go. You got it. Belfield. Yes, 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 yes. Gosh, I failed that test. I actually went to Belfield, did a tour, and that's where it came up.
That is a very good tour to do. I was actually part of that committee whilst at GFC, and it's amazing that they use it for a multi-use
Mhm.
of the mangrove area that is designated. It's protected. Mangroves are protected by the Forest Act.
Mhm.
And then they have honey being made within that same mangrove forest, and also they have tours which generates an income. Also they use what the wax. They make bees from beeswax. They produce all these products, right, made handmade by the villagers,
Yeah.
so that brings in also an income for them.
It's so funny you're saying all of this, Marcy, and it's coming back to me because I remember that they have the products for sale,
Yeah.
the honey and the beeswax and all of this stuff. And I'm just looking at the site here at some comments, and Claire Goring said at Cove and John in Victoria, they planted a lot of mangrove trees there too. So I guess that's where it's coming back to me because I have some connection to Victoria. But I did make that tour at Belfield. I remember we went to where used to be or where is Belfield's girls' school. I'm not sure if it's school. Please don't come for me, folks. I don't remember clearly, but I did the tour. I swear.
Yes, going on the horse cart,
The what?
the horse cart or the donkey cart.
I don't remember that.
Well, usually that's how they carry or the visitors that are going through the mangrove along the seawall.
I don't remember that.
Okay, well that
Probably
at one time that was in place.
the modernized ways of transportation. But thank you for that schooling. Listen, I never paid attention to agroforestry, to really sit down and read about it. And here we are getting some education from you about your forestry education, your biological education that has been put to work by working at the forestry. Kudos, kudos, kudos. Let's look at some more of Marcia's dimensions, and then we'll come back. How about that, Marcy?
No problem.
Good. Now, this is another side of you, Marcia. I cannot keep up. I really cannot keep up. You're a very creative person. What we just watched there was a snippet of Marcia's handiwork, the postcards, the centerpieces, the biscuits. I mean, and I believe you're self-taught where this creative work comes in. Am I not right with that?
I love experimenting, but the inspiration started with my mom, from my mom.
Okay.
She started making handmade cards as a hobby, and then had become her little assistant, a little helper, and then we started doing it together. And then it became a tradition at Christmas that we had these cookie cutters, and I love seeing color. Color brings a smile every time I see it. So putting a bit of food coloring on the various shapes for Christmas was something that brought me joy. And then I always liked experimenting with florals. So that's where the centerpieces came in.
Uh-huh. You know, you mentioned Christmas and I can't let that go. Folks, so you know,
Yes.
she's crazy about Christmas. One Christmas just ends and she starts to count down to the next one. You know, she just loves Christmas like that.
It's only 68 more days to Christmas.
Oh gosh, thank you, Marcia. We appreciate the count.
My pleasure.
So you've learned from your mom, um, your wonderful mom, Alex, about baking and the postcards also, the postcard
Yes.
yeah, the
Yes,
centipede.
it was the centerpiece was something I was experimenting with,
Okay,
and I love the concept of a candle being lit. So I would usually start my centerpiece from with a candle, and then work around it.
okay. What about a candle being lit that you like?
Um, my mission has always been to shine a light wherever I go. So using the centerpiece or whatever I do, I use the candle as a symbolic meaning to mean that we shine our lights in wherever environment we're placed. It could be a good environment, it could be one that we dread going to, but it's our mission. It's my mission to shine a light wherever I go and to pass on that light.
That is very touching, Marcia, because especially now with what we're going through, and I'm also hearing that the glass is half full, and I'm tearing up. And don't ask me why. I guess what you just said really touched me. But with what's going on now, especially, you know, so many are in some low, dark places of their life. And the concept of shining a light, you know, lighting a candle, I can really feel and see how it can be uplifting So thank you for raising awareness where lighting that candle, shining that light is concerned. And we take things for granted because as I'm talking to you, I think about, I like candles too. I have a lot of candles at home and I like to light candles, but I am not thinking of the significance of lighting the candle. The way you just put it, I gotta tell you now, when I light my candles, I'll be thinking about Marcia now. And really putting meaning to lighting that candle. And please, gals, guys, boys and girls out there, I hope you heard that message. It's a very poignant one. We really can be a light for each other. I mean, that's my takeaway from what you just said, Marcia. And thank you. Thank you for illuminating that message to us. Um, Now you talk about baking those biscuits.
Yes.
You bake biscuits a lot, and then what do you do with them?
Oh, I parcel them off and I give it to church members, family members, friends, anybody that's within my circle. I happily give. It's like my, because Christmas, I mean, yes, I love Christmas. And the reason is that the love, joy, and peace that rules in that time of year. Everybody comes together, regardless of religion, race, gender, whatever the case may be. Everybody unites around, especially around that time. And then it's a way of, because Christmas is the, as for Christians, is the birth of Jesus Christ, our Savior coming into the world as a child, a baby, and so humble, so meek, so mild. But we kind of get, we lose the message of Christmas because we're focused on material things. We're focused on how much this gift costs and what I can buy and what I can get rather than what I can give. So giving comes, plays a huge role in, for me, at Christmas. I mean, of course, you have the entire year. Every day is Christmas. You have the entire year to give. But then giving of yourself more at that time brings a joy, brings, going back to that light, brings a smile. And if we can continue with that attitude throughout the year, this world will be such a better place.
Where did you learn all this stuff, Marcia?
This is from my foundation in church. The seeds were planted from growing up, and now the plant is growing and the fruits are on the tree. So it's about just picking, harvesting, and sharing.
Love it, love it. Your your role models, your teachers, your other parents, in addition to your biological parents, your mom, Alex, and your late dad, and the aunties and the cousins and everybody, I am sure they have to be proud of the young woman that you are. And I just want to say to the world that I am proud of you, Marcia. I'm proud of the way you teach us as a young woman every time. And I I mean that from the heart. There is always a learning that comes when I have a discussion with you. And I look forward to these. And I'm glad that we're able to do this and share some of your wisdom with other folks. And I'm not being selfish here. I'm saying let's share it. Let's share the wisdom. Now, you've just started making, we're talking still about your creativity here. You've started making door wreaths.
Yes.
What happened there?
Well, I noticed these wreaths on people's doors, and I'm like, some of them are, need some repairs, and I was looking at it and like, I can put something together and come up with something. And I took a trip to the store one day and with my mom and my second mom, Auntie Lerna, and we got some items and we decided to put them together, and they actually did come out pretty, pretty nice. And so we're trying, it's now starting, so it's just now, step trying to get the ideas flowing.
Mhm. So what I'm also hearing here is that there might be a little small homegrown business here blooming with biscuits or cookies, postcards, wreaths, center pieces. I mean, why not? Why not? And those lovely postcards, Marcia, those lovely postcards. I mean, you can really feel the tender, loving care that go into the postcards. I mean, I have some of them, and really, they're keepsakes. I got some from you, and I really don't want to write anything inside and send it to anybody because it's so nicely done. They're decorative and they're comparable. Also, I have to tell you, to those that we spend $8 and $10 for these days. A postcard is very expensive in the pharmacies when you go through the card stores and the card aisle and all of that. It's $7, $6.99, $7.99, and we're not talking homemade cards yet. And I know that that's really love that goes into those card making, and I have to invoke my sister girlfriend Claire Goring here because she does homemade cards, and I know the work that goes into it, but right with the work there is the love of the arts, of doing the craft, the creative expressions. And I wonder, how is it for you? I mean, I'm telling you how I'm receiving it, but I'm wondering, how is it for you? Who is the one making the cards?
Well, as I said, it's a team effort between me and my mom. And it's not really postcards, it's greeting cards.
Uh-huh.
Handmade greeting cards. And well, of course, you can guess without a doubt what are my favorites, the Christmas cards. So I have a joy in making those. And then for somebody's birthday, like I can get creative with, especially if I know the person and what they like. Like say if you like purple and pink, or you like orange and pink, there's something that personalizes that card. And as you said, that's a card made with a love.
So,
Um,
oh, I'm
it,
sorry.
it is therapeutic.
You mean making the card is therapeutic?
Making the card is therapeutic because you put your creativity and you put all your energy, your negative energy, whatever you're feeling, that somebody upset you or some situation upset you, and you put it into the card, and you realize, there's a beautiful meaning. There's a beauty that comes among in the storm of life.
Yeah.
Comes beauty.
I'll come back to the whole creativity there because I just remembered something. However, I want you to clarify for us. You said it's not a postcard. They're not postcards. They're greeting cards. Tell us the difference between postcards and greeting cards.
So greeting cards would be stopping by to say hello, happy birthday, happy anniversary, happy, I hope you're feeling better or get well soon. Christmas cards, sending lots of love and joy throughout the season. So it's more of a to put a smile in your face that somebody thought of me. And if you're visiting Barbados, Grenada, China, and you want to just drop this message of hello, this is where I am, or this is what I just saw, or this is where I've been. Rather, a greeting card is actually made from your heart.
Okay, with a message.
With a message.
Got it. Got it. Thank you for that. So I want to go back to the creativity piece. You just amaze me. What can I say? You have done work with the Sunday school. You've been a part of the InterVarsity Club. You've been part of the Rotary Club. You have recently done some creative work with gynecultural associations through the summer workshop series, whereby you were like a parent to all those children who were a part of the summer workshop series. And I got to witness you in a different space with creativity. The whole cultural piece infused with your creative side, your artistic side, really came to the fore. And because we're talking about creativity, I have to ask you, how was that experience for you?
Working with the children?
Yeah, and being a part of the summer workshop series, the virtual summer workshop series.
Oh, that was surely a difference, because of course I'm accustomed to doing everything, and I think we all are accustomed to doing something that's, in person. You're teaching somebody to color, or you're teaching somebody to paint or create a drawing, or whatever the case may be, or sing, music. Everything was done in person. But then this is now adapting to a new normal, as I would usually love to, an expression I would usually love to use, adapting to a new normal. But it was somehow different, but still I was able to connect with the kids, children, and express, and they were able to express what they learned and what they appreciated and what they liked best. So you still had that connection.
How was it
for me, I was enjoying it because it was new. It was a new form of a workshop and a new way of communicating with kids, because you're not seeing them, but then if they come with their hair all messed up, they're having not such a good day. But if they come and then the next day they come with their hair all well done, you're like, oh, today is a better day.
Learning curve in doing, what was a learning curve for you in workshops?
For me, the learning curve was that we can adapt, or we can adapt to any situation once we have the right people involved.
Well, I'm glad that you were one of the right people, so to speak. I'm glad that
it was a pleasure being part of that workshop, and I did learn a lot, because listening to Old Man Pappy and the stories of the Oleg and the different Masakura Man, the silk cotton tree, that was a highlight. And then listening to Teacher Edgar with the music. Yes, I did go through doing some amount of music along the way, but listening to him teach it virtually was an experience. Then we had Teacher Mildred with trying to get the notes and the songs from the Watch in the Glass. Well, I always wanted to learn to do that, but I'm still yet to try it. But that was a new thing for me. Not sure if I answered your question properly.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I just wanted to talk about the different sides of your creative being there. But let's take a look at some more of you, Marcy, and then we'll come back and talk some more. Okay.
Okay, Dr.
Having cancer is not a death sentence. It is adjusting to a new normal. It is a horrible disease that seems to be on the increase, especially in our youth. Not allow cancer to stop us from living. Whether it's going to a dance recital, or decorating for my cousin's birthday, making mischief with some caterpillars, having tea with great company, learning the traditional summer barbecue with Auntie Lorna, admiring the sunset, venturing to new heights, trying to catch a fish, or playing bingo with He-Rock, playing games on a boardwalk, snapping a shot of a double rainbow, eating vegetables, wearing board hair, playing checkers, getting into some adult coloring, and trying to go to church almost every Sunday. Despite our situation may change health-wise, learning to adapt to a new normal is the key instead of being depressed and focus on the things we cannot do. After my surgery, I was told that I cannot lift anything heavy. A few months later, my limit was set to 10 pounds. Is this lifelong? I do not know. But I cannot spend each day and be focused on what I cannot do, because then I would have missed the joys of what I can do. Just remember, giving up is not an option. We are given life as a test, whether it's cancer or something else in life. That seems to be a stumbling block. Tammy Stokes Earl reminds us to cherish every moment of every day. Cherish every step that we take. Cherish every beautiful thing we see. Cherish every song that we hear. Best thing that we can do is not to think, not wonder, not imagine, not obsess, not just breathe, and have faith that everything will turn out for the best. Mindfulness continues to be my theme. Taking one day at a time has become reality. It relieves less stress, worry from your life. Just live life to the fullest each day, simply enjoying every moment, making a difference, and shining our candles.
So I saw the candle, Marcia.
Yes.
I saw the candle. I mentioned earlier, oh, first of before I forget, for those of you who might have joined us late, I'm sitting today with Marcia Priyadarshini Gordon, fondly called Marcia by most of us, or Marcy. And I mentioned earlier, Marcy, that you are an educational institution on your own and in your own right. I know that you know what I mean when I say that, and I'm sure that after we go through this discussion, our viewers will get a better understanding of what I mean. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And my hope is really that today's program will be an educational one for those who are joining us, who've joined us live, and those who will join, who will look at the recording after we're done, because not everybody can join us live. And some people do go and look at the recording later on. Marcy, in 2016, you were diagnosed, you were initially diagnosed with breast cancer. I know you have been chronicling and sharing your journey, and I'm truly grateful that you will be openly discussing your journey with me today. And I I pull from your strength. And I'm thinking it should come from the other way around, but I pull from your strength, and I have to ask you, before you got your diagnosis, how did you know that something was wrong with your body?
Well, I got in the habit of doing self breast examinations. Like for example, if you're in the shower or if you're on your lying on your bed, you tend to put you put your hand at the back of your head, and then you using these three fingers,
Mm-hmm.
and then you just go into in small circular motions
Okay.
around,
What do you
and
feel?
you're feeling for any lump or any abnormality. So
Okay.
you're feeling around, and you're going around in circles. You can start from the region of your nipple,
Uh-huh.
and then you go round and round and in circle, and then you have to also check under your arm, because these are where your lymph nodes are,
Okay.
and
Oh.
they usually get infected or affected with the cancer cells.
Uh-huh.
And so you do, and then you do it for the next side,
Mhm.
and you kind of make that a habit. You can do it like once a month. As women, you should do it once a month, at least once a month. And it was one of those days that I was doing a one of those examinations, and I felt something abnormal in my left breast,
What's the
and
something though? Do you remember?
it felt different, and I was feeling like a small lump.
Okay.
But I know that young women, they get this thing called fibroadenomas, and it's benign. So I wasn't really worried, but then something was telling me, go get it checked. But I went, and they did an ultrasound. They said it's nothing to worry about, and it was indeed fibroadenomas. So I repeatedly asked, should I do a mammogram? They said that was unnecessary. Should I do a biopsy? That was not necessary. I'm like, okay, good. Of course, that was all I wanted to hear. All I wanted to do was to run out to that place and continue with life as normal. And so, after a period of a few months, about I think it was around 8 or 9 months, I started getting these shortness of breath. Mind you, I wasn't getting any of the symptoms. There was no redness. They said that your breast usually look like orange, the skin of an orange. I wasn't getting any of that. There was no discomfort. There was nothing. So I decided to go get it checked again, and I was told the only way to know what's there is to do a biopsy, and so that was done. So when they did the biopsy, it came back as a cancer cell, but only but you can only definitively know really where the cancer is located by doing a scan. And so they did one of those overall scans, and that showed the locations, the several locations, because it at this time it had spread, and because of it being estrogen positive, progesterone positive, which is hormonal positive, it grew very quickly. And I am saying ER positive, you would constantly hear these terms, ER positive, PR positive, or HER2 positive or negative. And these are just cancer receptors.
Okay.
So somebody can be positive for ER and PR, which is estrogen receptor positive or progesterone receptor positive.
Mhm.
or they can be negative for the ATR2 um, receptor, which is a human epidermal growth factor receptor 2.
Okay.
It's pretty much making your cells making too many proteins, and so then you have this promotes the growth of cancer cells.
Okay.
So that's why you would hear sometimes everybody has a different treatment protocol, because not everybody's cancer is the same.
Yeah.
It's not a one size fits all approach.
So Marcia, you said that there was a 6-month gap. And
there was what 8 to 9 months gap.
8 to 9 months gap between when you were told not to worry and then to worry, pretty much. What happened after you realized that cancer was present? How old were you?
I was 26.
You were 26. And you were told you have breast cancer.
Yes. And then further tests showed stage 4.
Okay, slow down for a bit for me. So you eventually sought professional help, intervention, right? You went to the doctor. You were told there's nothing to worry about. 8, 9 months later, you found out that, yes.
Something to worry about. Yes.
And on top of all of that, it's stage 4. What's going on in your head?
At that point, I was more concerned about telling my mom than anything else. I did not know how to, when to. That was the first thing on my mind. I had forgotten I just heard about cancer, and my focus was on that. I was a chicken for about 9 days before telling her, and mind you, yes, 9 days she did not know a thing. Of course, she probably felt.
Who was with you, Marcia? Who was with you when you?
My mom and some family friends, yeah.
So who in that circle did you tell?
I did tell the family friend.
Okay.
And so she knew when I'm like, I don't know how to approach this. But eventually I got the courage because the appointment was coming up.
Right.
And so I can't go to the appointment without mommy.
Right.
And so that's how mommy knew. Of course, she was numb. But and then I think at that point, she already knew that she had a feeling. I guess all mothers have this feeling.
You call it? Yeah.
Yes. That, something was amiss. And so I broke the news to her, and we started treatment. Well, we didn't start treatment, really. We started the hospital visits, the doctor's appointments, because there's so many things that has to be done before treatment starts. And then I was not, because of how advanced the cancer had spread or was, I was not a candidate for chemotherapy, radiation, or surgery. And the next option was chemotherapy pills. Because at that point, my oncologist looking at the scan was alarmed. And the only thing they could have advised was chemotherapy pills. But thankfully, I had my two mentors, my two mentors who are doctors, and they looked at my age and they said, "You can do it. Go for the aggressive treatment."
Now, I have a lot of things going on in my head right now, and I don't know which way to go. But okay, go for the aggressive treatment. What does that mean in plain English, Marcy?
So this would be chemotherapy going through your veins. This would be the actual you sitting in the recliner, getting all the Benadryl, the Decadron, the steroids, getting the full works of all the real chemo, the strong chemo, the aggressive chemotherapy. And this is where you get everybody gets these side effects of nausea, loss of weight, um, your hair loss, the whole works, the whole 9 yards.
All of those side effects?
Yes, well, it's part of a list. And I think that list is so long that, you just say, oh, okay, it's just another list of medical side effects.
Mm-hmm.
But these hit you hard. For some others, it's different for everybody. And it has a lot to do with your support team, because it takes a village, and it has a lot to do with your diet.
Mm-hmm.
So doing the aggressive chemotherapy, they had prescribed 16 cycles, and a cycle is one session. So therefore, it would be 16 sessions of chemotherapy.
And how often did you have to go for a cycle?
So sometimes, well, for the first 4, it was every 2 weeks. But then you have to go for 5 days after, because you have to get this special Neupogen shot.
Okay.
Which boosts the red blood cell, which boosts the white blood cell count.
Okay.
Because your body, with the chemotherapy, you're already immunodepressed. You're susceptible to anything that passes by, in terms of cold, the flu, and you have to be extra cautious. So they would usually give you that Neupogen shot, and for 5 days after, and then the remaining 12 was every week, one every week.
So aside from going back every 5 days after the cycle, is it the treatment regimen one that your body needs like the 2 weeks to really recalibrate and be ready for another?
Yes.
What is the body going through though during those 2 weeks?
Well,
or what
the chemotherapy
is your body going through during those 2 weeks?
Well, for me, I had of course, feeling weak, and because your body, chemotherapy is pretty much like toxins going into your body. And I recall talking to one person who actually did chemotherapy, and the name of his chemotherapy drug was arsenic. So it's like, hearing that, you already, why would a chemotherapy drug be called that? You're already going through so much, but it's all part of the package. But your body goes through so many changes. Everybody reacts differently. And for me, I lost my hair. I lost 10 pounds rapidly. I did not want to eat. I was not nauseated. I was feeling tired easily. But of course, I didn't plan on sitting down in a chair all day. For the first 3 or 4 days, yes, I was down, but then I was up again. So I tried my best to find ways of making this journey a little easier by keeping my brain occupied. And then I always had somebody who called, "Hey, how you doing? How's the weather?" No, not asking me about house treatment,
Right.
and have to go back through that routine of saying, "Oh, I had chemo today and I'm not feeling so good." So you had somebody who livened up your day to ask how what's the latest movie you watched, or what's in the news, or something that was not related, cancer related. And that's what I actually needed, a distraction to.
Let me ask you this. Sometimes when we hear that something is wrong with our health, we go on WebMD, whatever is the diagnosis.com, we just Google it, right? And if we get the courage, we might talk to a few people, and our West Indian people, our Caribbean people always have a story to tell you when they had the same sickness, right? Or they knew somebody who had the sickness, and this is what they did. But I'm wondering if when you got your diagnosis, if you were listening out to hear about anybody who had a similar diagnosis and whether you talked with them.
Well, yes. Actually, during that same time, a few months before, one of my a friend who I met through a mutual friend, was diagnosed, and she was about 2 years older than I am. So that would have been, she was 27, 26, somewhere thereabout, and she had just gone through chemotherapy. And so I was able to speak with her because she was the first person. And the thing is, when I spoke with her initially, I told her, Tia, I have this friend who was given a cancer scare. Everything was in third person. And I would like your advice. Where did you get treated? And what did they do? And how did it feel? Everything was in third person. And then a few months later, she said, "Oh, I knew it was you." And she said, "I was asking those same questions." Wow. God rest her soul, we lost her 2 years ago.
Wow.
2 years ago.
Wow.
Last year.
I'm also thinking, you mentioned about asking the question in third person. This is something also that, and I'm kind of putting on my scholastic hat in some ways here. This is something that individuals from the Caribbean folks do also. We hide our illness, and sometimes hiding it can come in the third person, because we are not ready to face it. We're not ready to deal with it. So we have to find our own journey that makes it bearable for us to get to that place to say, hey, this is me. I was diagnosed and I'm okay with it now. I can talk about it. I can talk about it through the tears. But the culture in the Caribbean is really to hide illnesses. And one of the things I'm remembering my late mom would say, you don't buy sickness. I grew up hearing my mom saying that, in other words, it's okay to talk about it. Of course, when you're ready, right? When you're ready, because there is a level of respect that has to be acknowledged there when someone is ready to talk about what's going on with their body, because the body is private. But you've gotten through hearing the diagnosis. You told your family friend. 9 days later, you told mommy. Oh my gosh, I don't even want to think about what mom was thinking. But how were you getting the courage to share with other people who you knew would have been supportive along the way? I mean, I know you had to take your time in really getting Marcia ready to talk about it, but how was that for you?
For me, I wanted my first cycle to start, and then the information would have come out. Sadly, it was given out prematurely, not by me, but I was happy. It was actually it was a blessing in disguise that I didn't have to say I was diagnosed with stage 4, but rather it was a time in which I can give updates.
Okay.
So I looked at it as a way of I don't have to say what it is. They already know. It's now for me to use this as a learning experience and a teaching experience,
Mhm.
a way of getting it across to somebody who may be going through the same battle that I am.
Mhm.
And it may not be cancer. It could be something else that is health related or, or socially related. But it was a way of let me know what is happening first. Because before I did not know when chemotherapy was going to start.
Mhm.
As I said, there's so many procedures or medical procedures you have to do before getting to the start of chemotherapy. It's not the diagnosis today, chemo tomorrow.
Yeah.
It takes a period of time to get started and to get you into the right protocol because you don't want, especially, and then you have to get the receptors. Those receptors are so important because you don't want to be treating someone who has an ER positive and you're treating them as if they're ER negative
Yeah.
because it doesn't really do anything to the cancer cell. So it's important to know those receptors. And so it's like, I needed to know when chemo was starting and to start my chemo. And that was the first time I posted something, a photo of me being first day of chemo in the recliner, hooked up to what somebody had referred to as the big guns, to get those cancer cells out. So, it was, I just needed the confirmation of when treatments will commence and the day it commences that I can relate this information.
Yeah.
Because of course everybody was asking.
Well, that I'm going there now. I'm going there. Was there any time you didn't feel like talking to a particular person, any person who might have come to you in a way that was abrasive about your diagnosis?
If there were, I can guarantee you there was not going to be a second call.
Okay. Okay.
Because I tried my best to ignore negativity.
Mhm.
So, it was a way of weeding out, in a manner of speaking, that weeding out the negativities.
Right.
And then everybody had their, oh, you should try this. Oh, you should try that. Oh, this worked with this person. I'm different.
How about the bush medicines?
Oh, yes. Try the bush. It works. But I did we did experiment with some diet changes. Of course, drinking a blend of vegetables, all made at home, smoothies for that boost of energy and bodybuilding, protein, you know, just as a backup. It wasn't to replace chemo or it wasn't to or substitute, whatever the case may be, it was used along with, just to build the body up. Because remember, as I said, it's toxins going into your body, and you need you need the vitamins, you need the minerals, you need that extra boost that you somebody that is not suffering with a stage 4 cancer diagnosis would need. So you need that as part of your diet.
Oh, Marcia. I I'm speechless and thankful at the same time. I'm speechless and thankful for the information sharing, your journey sharing, your taking a chance at being vulnerable and teaching us about your journey and about what some women are scared to talk about. And I just would continue to applaud you along the way for your bravery and your sincerity and your honesty and in just giving and not even looking for a thanks as you're sharing this. Why not let's take another look at a different side of Marcia again. And then we'll come back and continue talking. Okay, thanks.
Living life as a cancer thriver. 16 cycles of chemotherapy ended in July 2016. So after 6 months of back and forth consultations with the surgeon and radiation oncologist and scans, the radiation oncologist agreed to 25 sessions of radiation. And that was my birthday gift. Each session lasted for 10 minutes and entailed being in a stationary position. Due to the location and layout of the treatment plan of the radiation beams, any movement could have caused damage to the heart and lungs. The technicians were very friendly and ensured that I was comfortable. Because of them, I was motivated to go daily. Radiation entailed lying on a narrow bed, topless like a dead body, as the technicians shift my butt, head, legs, and hands according to the radiation beams, and then leave you in the room surrounded by hazard warning signs stating danger and a loud noise. What's great about waiting rooms is that there's always people there having similar experiences. I met some loving patients throughout this journey so far. Sharing your experiences is very edifying and can help you to realize that you are never alone and that there's always someone in need of an encouraging word or that can add a smile to your day. My radiation times clashed with a lady much older than me, and every morning we would try to reach before each other. This was her second time being diagnosed with cancer, and hence second time doing radiation. We both learned a lot from each other. Some radiation tips. Drink lots of water. It lessens any damage to the organs and keeps you hydrated. Maintain good nutrition. Where you can, do not wear a bra. If a bra has to be worn, ensure it's wireless. Wear loose clothing, no deodorant, no shaving of area, no perfume. Lukewarm water and pat dry. Use unscented cream. Protect the skin from direct exposure to the sun and keep the area fully moisturized. 2 weeks after radiation, I met with the surgeon, who cleared me for surgery. And 1 week later, on March 1st, 2017, I was in the operating room to do a double mastectomy. This was my first surgery ever. I did not know what to expect, but I knew that I surrendered everything into the hands of my Heavenly Father. My focus was that there will be less cancer cells in my body after all this is done, and that was comforting enough. Days at home after surgery were challenging, as I was constipated for weeks. Any movement was painful, stiff-necked due to sleeping upright,
A simple handmade card or visit from someone can add so much to someone who is recuperating, meaning when adversity hits. My goal each day was to try to walk faster than a tortoise, which I eventually did in about a month. My diet continued with juices and smoothies. The second diagnosis of 4 brain tumors, cancer cells in the liver and lung, sent shockwaves in November 2017. The treatment plan was gamma knife radiation, which was a 6-hour procedure with a space looking like a head attire. This followed daily chemotherapy tablets in 4-week cycles and regular brain MRI scans throughout this year. Oh, not forgetting the steroids, which made me look like a blowfish. During this year, the brain tumors are now radiation scars, but must be closely monitored. The lungs and sternum remain stable with no increases. However, the one in the liver during the year became very lonely and so invited company. But a few months later, one of the two got evicted. There has been no increases or surprises.
We're back, guys and gals. I'm Rose October. I'm sitting today with Marcia Priyadarshini Gordon, who is a thriver. And I'm emphasizing thriver now. Earlier on, we talked about Marcia and her creativity side, her creative side, and being a young creative, so to speak. This aspect of the program, we're talking about Marcia's journey as a cancer thriver. And Marcia, thank you for sharing more of your journey with us. You're a thriver. Some folks have never heard about thriver. Most folks have heard about survivor when we talk about cancer. When we talk about cancer survivability. Could you quickly tell us the difference between thriver and survivor?
So I believe thriver was coined recently.
Yes, it was.
Because I did search for it in the dictionary and it's not there.
Right.
So, but thriver is when somebody who is a cancer patient that's still undergoing treatment because there's still cancer cells around and in different places. Mm-hmm. Survivor is when somebody has pretty much survived it and is not undergoing treatment as aggressive. There's no, it would be a scan coming back clean.
Okay.
Whereas with a thriver, a CT scan coming back with highlights or spots of cancer cells being around the body.
Got it. Thank you. So in March 2017, you made that life-changing decision?
Yeah.
How was making that decision for you?
All I was concerned about was to have less cancer cells in my body. As long as you can go, go. It wasn't about how I look or feel. I just wanted it to be gone. If it meant reducing the cancer cells, so be it. I had already understood what was before me and what I was dealing with. And then I had as I keep saying, it takes a village. It's not something you can do on your own. No way. A cancer journey, it's like, while there are many different roads that we take in life, it is those who walk with us that makes the journey worthwhile. So having that support team, that village, helped to persevere and to have that determination that when I get through this, I will be better. I'll be healthier. I have less cancer cells in my body. So I wasn't looking at a body image. Everybody holds on to their prized possessions of, women being, want to keep their breasts, they want it to shape differently. I just wanted the cancer cells out. Out.
No,
The garbage bin is there. Go.
how long did it take you to make that decision, Marcy?
I think it was a decision that was already made in my mind because I already knew that it was so much in one breast. And I know of instances from person's experiences that it returned in the other. So I just wanted the both out one time.
So in other
Yeah.
words, the radiation and all of the different interventions, they were not working.
It did. It reduced it so that made surgery possible.
Ah, okay, okay.
If it wasn't because of the chemo and the radiation, then surgery. Remember, chemo, radiation, or surgery were not options.
Okay, okay.
So doing the chemo followed by the radiation allowed for, it's like you level 1 was chemotherapy, and then when you pass level 1, you come down and you reach level 2, and then level 3 was surgery.
Okay.
So it's like you have to pass 1 and 2 before you reach 3.
So chemo, radiation, and then surgery. Now, you mentioned the piece about body image. And because it's breast cancer, it's not to say that men do not suffer with breast cancer. Men do suffer with breast cancer. But you mentioned body image is a big thing for women, more for women than men. And yes, men do experience body issues. Yes, they do. That's for a whole different talk show when we get bodybuilders on and we can talk about their body image issues. But you mentioned something that's very important. The breasts are a part of our bodies. It allows us to showcase our 36, 24, 38. It plays a part in how our clothes fit. It plays a part in how we feel, our confidence, how it's boost or it's not. And you said, you know what? I don't care about that. I just want these bad cells, these cancer cells out. How has your new normal, and this is your words, your phrase, I learned that phrase from you, Marcia. How has your new normal been when you put on your clothes? How are you dealing with that?
At first, it was hard to get close to fit, but then there's padded bras. You put on one, nobody don't even know. So it's like you adjust.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing in life that we're always forced to do, adjust to what is the new normal. And so for me, wearing a padded bra was adjusting. It was pretty much adjusting to the new
bra. I didn't hear padded bra. No, is there a thought about prosthetic breasts? Have you thought about that? Was that?
Oh yes, and I threw that. Well, I pretty much threw that out the window too. I pretty much threw that out to the window too.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Marcia, I just have to admire your strength. And the bottom line is when you love someone, when we love you, we love all of you. And it doesn't matter whether, and this is not in any way to sound derogatory, so please don't take it that way, but I'm just putting it in context. You having a double mastectomy does not take away from who Marcia is. Marcia is still the loving person who wants to shine a light in everybody's life. You're shining many lights right now because like me, like myself, I'm getting a lot of education around breast cancer awareness, and I'm sure that some who've joined us and who will watch the video later will get an education that they couldn't even pay for, you know. So I'm really thankful that you're being this vulnerable in sharing your journey. Um, Now, to this point, how has treatment been going for you?
Treatment has been good, because everything is stable at this point, so no surprises, no increases. I still have to take my double cocktail of medications every day. So that helps. That has been helping, and thankfully, the scans are stable.
Good, good, good. So why don't we look at some more of Marcia? This woman has so many sides, so many sides. And then when we come back, we'll just talk about wrapping this up because I can't believe it's 2 hours that went by, just like that, just like that. So let's watch a little more about Marcia. For those of you who've joined us late, I am sitting with Marcia Darshani Gordon, and we're talking about her life as a young creative and her life as a thriver, given that this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So let's watch some more, Marcia. So, Marcia, those were puzzles, jigsaw puzzles. Those were jigsaw puzzles that Marcia spent time putting together. And, you know, just before we watched that clip, I talked about you being creative. And I need to tell you guys and gals who might have joined us late, Marcia is self-taught in the land of creativity. Marcia also, I have to put this out there, Marcia is responsible for putting up the YouTube page for this program, Arts, Culture, and Things in Between. And if I'm not mistaken, she taught herself through this stuff. You know, I mean, this woman is just full of creative juices that flow, and I so admire you. Did I say how much I admire you, Marcia? Did I say that before? Okay. So you are on your road to what I would say is recovery, Marcia. And part of your recovery plan, in my assessment, is you're giving back to the community. You know, I would say that you're giving back to the community by being a part of this program, the way that you've developed the YouTube page, program, channel for it. You've been a part of giving back. You've been giving back to the community the way that you've worked with summer workshop series, the virtual program this year. I know that you've done some work with Impressions Dance Theater. You and your mom, you've come together and you've done some work there with the creative summer program that they have. And the big one for you is not just your church that you're involved in Guyana. I know that you've been doing the whole virtual thing, and HEROC, you know, health and Education Relief Organization for Cancer, Inc. You're a major part of HEROC, and I don't know how you get the energy to do all of this stuff, Marcia, but you do it. And I had to show the puzzles because when I go to the HEROC's programs, your puzzles are present. And if you all didn't know about Health and Education Relief Organization for Cancer, Inc., HEROC, please Google them. Please find their Facebook page. Please follow them. They're doing such awesome work in the community to address cancer awareness. The president of this organization is Lerna Welchman Leblit, and she has a very hardworking team behind her. I wish I had gotten all the names to acknowledge the folks. So folks, if you're watching, please know I'm saying thank you for all the work that you continue to do in helping individuals who are dealing with a cancer diagnosis. And Marcia, your puzzle, your jigsaw puzzle putting together is a way that you give back to HEROC, because those puzzles actually go on sale. Yeah. And helps to bring in some funds for HEROC, which is a non-for-profit organization located in New York. As far as I know, there is a sister organization in Guyana, Something Hope. Please help me out here.
Giving Hope, the Giving Hope Foundation.
Hope Foundation, yes, in Guyana is their sister foundation. And I read on Facebook that there was a give back in Guyana with HEROC and the Giving Hope Foundation. So congratulations to HEROC and the Giving Hope Foundation for the work that you continue to do in raising awareness, giving back to individuals who are afflicted by cancer. So you are an avid volunteer of HEROC and an advocate of health and wellness for young women. How so? Talk to us. What's the importance of this for you, being an advocate?
Well, given the fact of what a cancer journey is all about, it's no easy task. It's no easy journey. But then it's like having a pizza. And a pizza has 8 slices. Cancer is 1 or 2 slices. If you're picturing this pizza as your entire life, cancer is not this entire pie. There's so many other things about us other than cancer. It's not about seeing me and say, oh, she's a cancer patient or she has cancer. That image of what we have or what we're going through, the battle we're going through, is not us. I am still me. I still have, I'm still able to make the most of what I can do, given the adversity and the circumstances. So it's an opportunity for me to share this information. As I said, sharing is caring. Share this information with others to know that it's not a death sentence. You can still do all that you would like to do, but on a lower level. Because I was always on the go before this diagnosis. So adjusting was a bit challenging, but then I found ways of overcoming that. And then that is my message to persons who think that they have fallen into a hole because of a diagnosis or because of some adversity. No, you look at it as the glass half full. And then you also can turn that same thing around and look at it as when you want to give up, look at how far you've come. And then that will be the motivation for how far you can go. So that is an opportunity for me to express that message that giving up is not an option.
Some might say easier said than done, Marcia. And what do you say to them?
With determination and with God, all things are possible. My God has been my strength throughout this entire battle. And just like the jigsaw pieces, all the pieces fall where they will, according to his plan.
Amen.
We do not know what tomorrow holds, but I know who holds tomorrow. And my faith and belief is in him with my angels that he has surrounded me with. And for that, I am forever grateful.
You are touching my heart in so many ways, Marcia. I'm really working on keeping my emotions under. I'm really trying to keep my emotions under control because the strength you exude is remarkable. And for those of you who are watching, and for those of you who will watch this recording later on, I really hope you're able to sponge some of this strength and optimism that Marcia is sharing with us. My message received is that the glass is half full, Marcia. You know, that's one of the messages that I'm receiving from sitting and having this discussion with you today. And before we wrap this up, I want to ask you, what have you learned about Marcia as you travel this journey?
There has been so many things I've learned along this journey. And I know overcoming the fear of needles was one. Because prior to this diagnosis, I burst into tears at the sight of a needle coming in my direction. Now, having a needle coming in my direction is like the easiest thing now because of all the other procedures that I have had to face. But I'm thankful that there's still angels around that are willing to have that do have your best interest at heart. Not every day you come across them, but they are angels on earth. And I have been, and I'm a testament to having them. And you are one of them too, Dr. Rose. And I thank you, and I thank all my angels for being part of this journey, because this is not my story. This is everyone's story that has been a part of this journey. From the person closest to me, my mom, to somebody who I don't even know, that has reached out in some way or the other. This has inspired in some way. As the songwriter wrote, if I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living would have not been in vain.
Well said, Marcia. Well said. As we wrap this up, Anything else you would like to say to us?
No pity parties. I don't host pity parties. I don't want any pity party, and I will not promote a pity party. So for me, pity parties are not allowed. We're all doing this with joy, knowing that we can face tomorrow because God is by our side. And with every diagnosis, every adversity, recovery don't come when you feel good. Recovery comes the moment you receive the news. But that's when recovery starts.
I like that. I like that. Marcia, what a fulfilling afternoon this was for me. It truly was. Um, but before we close off, I have to send some special words out to the Health and Education Relief Organization for Cancer, Inc., HEROC, because I know that Lerna and team and supporters have been doing such an awesome job, generally speaking. But I know within that organization are some of your angels that you talk of. And I would like to say to them, thanks for being your angels. And your number one angel, your biological mom, Lady Alex Gordon. Thank you. Thank you, Mom, for showing us what motherhood, what parenthood at its best looks like in your daughter, Marcia, who is a true example for the world to see. A young woman of strength, a young woman of character, a young woman of truthfulness, a young woman who is God-fearing, a child of God. We are so thankful for you, Alex, and the work that you have done as a mother in raising a wonderful person, human being, young lady in Marcia. We are thankful for you. On that note, I have to say thank you to everybody who's joined us today. And I really hope that this has been a learning experience for you, like it was for me. One of my mantras in life is that learning is a lifelong process. And this afternoon, I truly learned more from you, Marcia. And I thank you for sitting with me and being vulnerable, like I said, and being open and sharing your journey. And that should be a double thank you, because I also need to thank you for doing the website of the program. I say this all the time, but here,
YouTube channel.
And I have to say, thank you. Go ahead.
The YouTube channel, not the website. Yes.
Okay, the YouTube channel of Arts, Culture, and Things in Between, and I'm supposed to say like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Yes.
I'm supposed to say that. I do a really bad job of that. And to you, the viewers there, thank you for joining us today. Truly, truly appreciate you. And there are some people in my corner, my angels, you know, Claire and Goring, MS. She's gotten her Medal of Service from the government of Guyana. Awesome work, her unselfish work in our community and lifting up the arts and keeping our culture relevant and alive. Claire does the flyer every week, tirelessly, without a fuss and nothing. Claire Goring, thank you. Thank you, my sister. I love you. Yasu Narain, who is responsible for building the website. I know I've been talking about this website being built. Trust me, it's not a fake. It's built. I just have not found the time to really do the final edits, but it's there. You're gonna love it once it's launched. And my colleague at work, Raul Manzana, who is an artist, he hand painted the logo. It's beautiful. I have to thank those folks. And the man behind all of this, Raul the Silva. Listen, Raul, I wish I could get you in front of the camera one of these afternoons. He hides, guys and gals. He just hides because he doesn't want me to big him up and all of that. But listen, the most unselfish brother out there who knows his craft with this whole virtual space and the technical stuff and the engineering stuff, it is Raul de Silva. I thank you, Raul. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. So these are the movers and shakers that are helping the program to grow. And I thank you, viewership, who's out there. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. So I want to say a special blurb. So those of you who were unable to join us, I'm including you, yes, and you will watch this recording after the live shuts down. Thank you. So I'm remembering you because folks tell me, oh, I go and I watch, and I know because I get the remarks. So thank you all for joining us. See you next Sunday, 3 to 5. Hope you can make it. Tell a friend. And, you know, we do this on Sunday. Did I say Friday? Next Sunday, right? 3 to 5. And we look forward to you joining us. We'll learn more. We'll give back more. I'm your host, Rose October, on Arts, Culture, and Things in Between. And I wish you safety, good health, and a productive week ahead. As I say, thanks again to Marcia and bye-bye. And thanks to you, and see you next time. Take care, everyone. Have a pleasant week.